This video is an overview video for my 2022 F-150 Lariat Fx4 Overland build from a creator standpoint. Now, I had this on really nice big camera yesterday, but after having no audio for half of it, because, you know, things happen with technology if you're not paying attention, like hitting a power button, we're going iPhone today. Now, I had a lot of people asking me about my last truck build and how everything's set up. I just ran out of time and didn't get a chance to film it all, so we're going to start over with the new truck. Now, I will have to redo this video in about 2 weeks because GoRhino is sending me a new bumper, some Adventure Gear storage racks on top, and some new boxes for the back to replace these old Plano ones. And then I'm getting a lift. Gear Offroad is sending me some rims, gonna put some bigger tires. It's gonna get a whole facelift, so I'm gonna have to redo all of this. But for now, we're gonna do a brief overview over the systems that I have installed and the way I have my truck set up. I will be doing more in-depth videos over each specific system. I don't know which one to start with. Should it be the electrical system? Should it be how I'm gonna set up my solar system? Y'all let me know in the comments below just on which system I should start with first. Or if you have any other questions over anything that I plan on doing or something that you see that I don't go more in depth on, I will be doing another video over each specific system. For starters, the base platform is a 2022 F-150 Lariat Fx4 Space White. Now, my last two trucks have been blue. I'm really a blue kind of guy, but it is what it is. It's what they had on the lot. And this is also my first EcoBoost, which, by the way, is a very impressive engine compared to the 5.0. I have always been a 5.0 person because I like the naturally aspirated, but I was really surprised at the power output that these 3.5 EcoBoosts put out. The Lariat upgraded rims, FX4 package comes with upgraded shocks, the GoRhino roof rack. This is a Saros. This is a no-drill roof rack. I have the Billy Bar system, the same that came off my old truck. I love the Billy Bar system. It's really, really versatile. And then I have the Putco side visors. I gotta have the side visors, man. I'm camping. I'm trying to like just chill out, a little bit of airflow. You just crack the windows, you know. You'll also see that I got the 40-inch light bar up there. Now, this is my first time owning a light bar. And just to let y'all know, there's kind of a lot of math that goes into running the electricity. Don't just think you're gonna hook up a wire to the battery and run it. Please don't do that. Do the math. There's plenty of free online calculators to determine what's your wire size for the wattage that you're gonna be running. Please do it. Don't burn up your truck because it can happen really fast, especially when you get into these higher wattage 40-inch or even some of the 20-inch ones, light bars. Like they pull quite a bit. Then I deleted the old ugly antenna. Got the little short, what was that? I don't even remember the brand. It was on Amazon. It was like 30 bucks. Coming around to the other side, you'll see that I've got the Woobie. The Wooboost. I have the WeBoost OTR antenna. This has been my saving grace. I have driven everywhere from Houston all the way to Portland on the backcountry roads, and I've never lost service. The F-150s come with the Wi-Fi hub on the inside that's from AT&T. And with the WeBoost, that being an AT&T signal, when it's in there, it actually boosts the Wi-Fi signal too. And because it's a 3G network and nobody's ever on that network, I'm able to pull over on the side of the road, pull my laptop out, and I've had full-blown Zoom meetings on the side of the highway in the middle of nowhere. That, to me, is the best $500 you'll ever spend. If you're somebody who needs cell service all the time, or if you want to boost the Wi-Fi signal in your vehicle, like that's a must-have. And then you gotta have the tent. I don't like people seeing what I have in here. Even though I keep my truck very clean, nothing in there, you don't need to be looking into my window. Coming around the back of the vehicle, I've got the LEDs for my rear backup lights mounted on my billy bars. My last two trucks, I've had them in the bumper, but then every time I buy a new truck, I gotta get a new set of lights. And honestly, it's kind of a pain in the butt to put them in the bumper. So I'm done with that. From now on, I will be mounting billy bars, so now when I swap trucks, I can actually take these with me. Sucks though, I've resealed this one a few times, and no matter what I do, moisture is still getting in this light, so I don't really know what the fix is for that. Then, of course, I have the Solid Fold 2.0 from X-Stang. I've had this same style bed cover. This is my second one for almost 9 years now. It's a 1-inch polyurethane thick. I like it because when I'm on these overlanding trips, I have a lot of equipment in the back of my truck, and I don't want to get in too hot. And this 1-inch thick polyurethane really like seals off the temperature in my bed. And then my cooler, it's already an Arctic cooler, so it stays pretty cold in general. And then this just helps it out. What I did is this one started looking a little worn and tattered, so I took Flex Seal in the can, which is kind of expensive, by the way, if you've never bought Flex Seal. I took that and resealed it, and it looks almost brand new. Now, to get a little bougie on them, my last truck was an XLT, and I kind of forgot about some of the finer features of having a Lariat. If you're a Ford owner and you ever owned a Lariat and tried to go to an XLT, it's just not the same. And that's kind of what happened with my 2016 when I crashed it. I loved my Lariat and then had to go to an XLT because the price of the truck is getting so much. Little things like that make a difference. This is the Billy Barr's tailgate cover. This one had the Workman's tailgate bench model, which, by the way, is completely useless. I'm just going to say it out loud for everybody to hear it. The workbench model is completely useless. It's a glorified piece of plastic with a ruler, and I'm pretty positive the ruler's not even accurate. The fix for that, if you're trying to do another workbench model, because this is a deck foam, and it will rip if you put anything heavy or sharp, like something with like a cornered edge. But for me, I do a lot of camping, and it's actually pretty comfortable. My cup holders here, or if I gotta do some editing, the height at which the tailgate sits is like perfectly table height. Put my computer up here, do a little editing. I've actually been playing around with mounting a monitor right here. We'll see how that goes. I'm thinking about maybe doing an on-the-road style podcast, and we'll see what happens. This right here is just a nifty little thing I picked up from a Flying J, but it's for an iPad. But this cup holder works perfect. The way that this cup holder mount works is perfect for having back here. If I'm running around, I need somewhere to set my phone real quick. I've used my drone controller, set it right here, and be able to mess with it. It's pretty neat. Been working with Billy Bars and trying to come out with some new accessories for this, and we'll see what we have in the future. Also, I did a video over how to reseal your tailgate. The Lariats on up have a lot of motors and computers back here in the back. This tailgate is not sealed properly, and Ford does have an issue where the wiring harnesses are corroding. And like, go figure, you don't have a seal on your tailgate. And with me being outdoors a lot, like it made a difference. So I added a 1/4 inch rubber seal all the way around, and then put rubber gasket seals on the screws when I put them back in. Worked perfect. Go check out my video on that. The Lariat comes with the AC plug in the bed, and then I added 2 extra lights to the rear because it gets kind of dark in there at night. Trying to pull things out and can't really see. I'm going to finish it off by adding some more LEDs up top because when I'm really packed down, it's really tight in there. And I just, like, I can't see anything. Then, if you're looking at my roof rack, you'll notice a bunch of wires coming out of both sides of the antennas. What I did was run a 5mm thick neoprene gasket around that antenna and use it as a porthole into my roof rack. This is a way better solution than trying to drill into your roof or trying to come up from the bottom that looks ugly coming around the back glass. It's just, I like neat and clean things. Now, on the left-hand side over here, this is going to be your XM satellite radio antenna for the F-150s. The right-hand side, which is your passenger side over here, is the one for the GPS. Now, with that being said, there's a very helpful tip that took me almost 3 months to figure out. My truck had the XM satellite radio removed because most people stream it on their phones, and that's kind of like Ford's go-to for having it removed and taking it off the price of the truck. But when you're like me, I'm off-grid most of the time. I don't have service. I like my XM radio because of that reason. Well, when they remove XM from the trucks, this antenna is basically useless. Even though you're going to have the antenna, it's actually there. It's not even a housing. It's a full antenna with a coax cable ran all the way around behind the glove box. And even though all that's ran, when they go to reinstall the XM satellite radio, it's going to be a whole new module. You cannot use the stock radio antenna because some of the wires that tie into the wiring harness are not in this truck. Nobody at Ford in Houston could tell me that. Nobody at Ford.com, no Ford forum. It took a Ford here over here, and makes my stomach sick to say it, California, to tell me exactly the reason, and that was it. And I finally felt some relief because I spent too much trying to figure it out and wire it up. But it makes a great access port for running wires to your roof rack. By the way, GoRhino.com, use code LONGREN for 30% off. The Saros is a no-drill roof rack. I personally rewrote the instructions, so the GoRhino instructions that you do see are from me personally. I took the original instructions, found all the problems, and then went through and had them corrected and then sent them back to GoRhino because that was a nightmare. All right, move around to the fun side of the truck. Gonna give me like 50 lights. Okay. 2022 F-150 Lariat. You've got the upgraded screen. You get this nice leather inlay trim, which I almost didn't even go look at this truck because I thought that was all red. Online, it looked like straight red, but then in person, it was really awesome because it was leather. I was like, you know what? This color ain't so bad. I have the B&O sound system. There's two different versions. There's a B&O and then the B&O Unleashed. Did not do the B&O Unleashed. I just have the regular B&O, which I replaced the rear subwoofer with a 10-inch with a 300 watt amp. I will be swapping that to a 12 because it just doesn't have the carry that a 12 has. You know, 10's a little better than 8. Get a lot of good sound in here, but I really like that carry that the 12 has. The newer trucks is all this dash integrations that they're doing, even though it's a little more bougie than what I really care or need. We swap between drive modes, so normal, slippery. So it does everything automatic, but then you get all these cool little prompts and it changes the entire color screen. So like if I'm in mud and ruts, it automatically does my locking diff for high, turn the traction control off, and my whole screen turns green. I am getting an SCT tuner, and I really can't wait to see how much this truck opens up. As far as upgrades, you have your little bass knob down here. This is a bullet point mounting solutions. I got tired of dealing with the stickers on the windows because they end up getting hot and falling off anyways, and then they still kind of move a little bit. Bullet point mounting solutions has great solutions for dash mounting. I mean, this is solid. I put my phone up here. Yes, I know it's kind of like in my line of sight. I want it in my line of sight because when you've got to have your phone down here looking at it, your head is completely off of the road. So I don't care what anybody says, having it in my line of sight is safer than having it down here off to the side where I have to physically turn my entire head. At least here I can look at my phone from my peripheral or glance over at it and I can still see the road from my peripheral. Much safer way of driving. Because let's face it, everybody's going to say, well, don't drive with your phone. Like, no, and we all do it. So why not just be safe about it? 4K camera, that's been really great. Somebody tried to break into my truck since I've been here in San Francisco. So I felt the need to put a dash cam on, and it's been really, really handy. I hardwired mine so it's on all the time. Here's my Wii Boost interior antenna. This is my Wi-Fi module, so it boosts it from right there. And then it needs to be within 18 to 25 inches of whatever the item you're trying to boost. So if it's like your cell phone, you're trying to boost a signal to your cell phone, it needs to be within 18 to 25 inches, or 0 to 25 inches, I'm sorry. And then I have my GoPro here, which I usually have on loop mode if I'm on long road trips. That way at any given time, I come up with a joke, say it to the camera, hit the button, and then be done with it. So if you're not familiar with the loop mode on the GoPros, take a look at it. It's like a dash cam feature, so you never really miss anything, especially with hook sets if you're fishing. You see these cords running from behind it instead of down in front of it. I cannot stand having cords all over the place. To me, that's dangerous. So I had Car Toys in Houston do some of these installs. What they did is they ran it around through the bottom here, through a porthole, and underneath the dash out the top. I had a chance to swap this out because even though this is iPhone brand, we all know these little lightning plugs eventually go out. And then on the other side, I have the Type-C that goes to my camera. I've got that run off a 12-volt DC to AC converter. It's a small little block. It was like $7. It goes strictly from the battery DC voltage over to 12-volt 5-amp to the GoPro. The newer GoPros require at least 3 amps to be able to power on, and they've been really finicky and funny lately with their software and updates, so 5 amp is what I would suggest at a minimum. And also make sure your cord is rated for it. And then, you know, I'm not really sure. I mean, it's a cool sunglass holder maybe, but even though I have one up here, like, this was just pointless to me. It's not even, never going to put anything in there. 360 cameras all the way around. I really like this model for the workbench model. What this is push this button, and that folds down, and then this folds out. Stop, do some quick editing, do a Zoom call pretty easily. I have a 16-inch MacBook Pro. That's not something I can just easily pop open and work on if I'm trying to do it off my knee, right? So this is a really big feature I had to have in my next truck. Some people may recall that I had a setup in my last truck. It's my little like laptop stand that I had to kind of strap down some different things over in the seat, and it worked, but like a little further out, kind of looked like a cop. This is much better, much safer. Good wide flat workspace if I need to jot down some ideas or work on something. Like, I love it. And then last but not least, I have all my switches that I installed. You know, I have my light bar, and then I have these two. One's going to be for the driver's side, and the passenger side LEDs coming off the sides. I haven't installed them yet because I don't like the way any of them currently look, and I don't know if I want to cut holes in my roof rack yet. Well, more holes in my roof rack. And what I did is I ran these on separate relays. So you'll have a relay for this one for these two, and then all of our auxiliary switches. Here's the one that turns on and off my dash cam, and then the other 5 I don't have connected to anything, but I didn't want to have to install one every single time I want to install an aftermarket part, light, whatever. So what I did is I just went ahead and installed them all and ran them to a terminal block that we'll look at here in just a second. And I can add something at any given time, and this is already done. Like, it's way easier to kind of do it each and every single time. See these little side marker lights here and this one over here? I have those wired down to motion sensor light for side lighting on the house. What I did is I run it to my side marker lights and an auxiliary switch inside. That way, if I'm camping kind of a busier area, like RVs around or a lot of people camping around, I don't quite feel like super safe. What I'll do is I'll just hit that button, and anytime somebody walks by my truck, it'll kick on. Or what I really did it for was here in San Francisco, probably still going to break in anyways, or at least try. The last guys tried to break into my truck. Well, the new F1, I have the advanced safety pack, which means I have laminate windows. Laminate windows don't shatter. They did in 7 different places and it didn't shatter. Now, I will say that is one thing Ford has done right. There's a lot they've done wrong, but that's one thing they've done right. Working my way around to the back seat, I've got these mold panels, molly panels. How to say that word properly. These molded panels, these are just the cloth ones. These are awesome. They're like $25, and I can put all kinds of stuff on here. I can't wait to actually start mounting my AR or my pistol back here. It'll be way easier to snag and grab, you know. I have my rear deck that I built for mainly sleeping in my back seat. I've used the rooftop tent before, but I'm going to be really honest. Rooftop tents are pointless. If you're really trying to do some off-gridding, that is so much space that tent takes up. It'll take your whole roof up, when I can put so much better use to that same space versus just sleeping. One, a pop-up tent that you pull out of a bag is way faster, and it's way faster to break down. 2, it's way faster. 2, I move around way too much. I don't do the off-grid thing where you park your truck and it just stays parked for several days at a time. Like, I'm off-grid in my truck. I use it the entire time. I am moving around. The rooftop tent, you don't have that luxury a lot of the time unless it's like an iCamper series that just pops up and down instead of a fold out like a Smittybilt. But then it really takes up a lot of room. To me, the price that you're going to pay for a rooftop tent, I don't know how people are still doing it. Like, are you stupid? Like, really think about it. Like, $3,000 for a tent to be on top of your roof that takes up space, takes a lot of time to put out, takes a lot of time to put away properly, and will possibly have leaks and mold anyway. So what I did is I built me a rear deck because the little inflatable pads that come with those inflatable mattresses don't ever hold up. Mattresses themselves don't hold up either, but for $60 I can get an inflatable mattress, put it down back here, pull over, quickly hop in the back, catch me a nap, catch me some sleep, wake up, and then jump back in the front seat and then keep going. Way better use of time and space. I'll put hinges on it so I can still access underneath. Typically my jackery goes in here. And the reason it goes in here is they usually charge it off of the battery through the AC plug down here. And then this is the 12 volt for my Wii Boost. Now when I stop, if I'm down for the night and my truck's turned off, I will take this plug for the Wii Boost and then plug it into my jackery. That way I still have signal in the truck boosted. That's the reason I did it that way instead of having the jackery like in the back of the bed or something like that. Like, I need all those plugs right here, and I usually have my camera equipment in here as well, and I'll be charging it off of the jackery. This is also a really stable option for my dogs. They like to move around. They like to get up and walk back and forth. Like, this one little seat isn't a whole lot of room. Having this full deck back here with a little mat, like a little pad, when we're doing 6-7 hour road trips, it really makes a difference, and they're able to move around, stretch, and really feel comfortable and safe. Down below, you'll see the Kenwood 10-inch subwoofer. This is where the DC to AC converter normally would be. but I removed it and put it further back in the back. We'll take a look at it in just a second, because I felt like this really took up a lot of space. And like, this is all my essential tools and nuts and bolts for all the accessories on my truck, and it fit perfectly in there. And I felt with the box for the inverter, and this space could be used much better. Okay, now this is something I am very proud of. It looks ugly, but I'm proud of it. I'm gonna go back and do a full like rack for everything later. This is my DC to AC converter that usually is under the rear passenger side. Cut the box, moved it, stuck it right here. Here's my Wii Boost, and then this is my terminal blocks. This is my main light bar up top. This is a 12 gauge 6-string copper wire, and then my right and left LED lights that I'll eventually be putting in. My grounding block, and then my wiring harness that I did myself from the auxiliary switches. And you'll notice that there's typically only one wire coming from the switch. You only run the power wire. If you need ground running to an accessory, what I did is I used the same ground that comes off from my amplifier. It ran into a grounding block back here, and then just ran everything over. So every time I add something, I don't have to go grab ground from the front of my truck. I'll just grab it from here and then put it back through and run through the truck. Which, move this out of the way. I know I did this in the bed of my truck, kept rattling around. Typically, this is where the tool for the truck would be for like lowering the spare tire and everything. But because I keep my spare tire locked up on the back bed of my truck, I don't need any of that stuff, and it takes up a lot of room. I'm very much about how efficient I am in my room. 300 watt JBL amplifier, LC2 Pro crossover, and then the far right hand side, that is the B&O amplifier for all the speakers inside the truck. Now, I still feel like there's quite a bit of room back here that's not being utilized, that I'm eventually going to go back and utilize for the onboard solar system. I plan on doing a 100 watt HQST on top with a inverter in here, a DC to DC charge controller as well, because I want to be able to run 2 different power sources, either the alternator from the truck, or once that's full, if the batteries are full, or if the truck's down, be able to swap over to the solar. Under the inverter, which would normally be here, is actually a little plug like this. Just pull it out the bottom, and it's a great access point for all your wirings coming out of the back of your truck. Pro tip number 55. So that is the overview for my 2022 F-150 Overland build from a creator standpoint. I'm going to be going into more detail into each individual system in more coming videos. Let me know in the comments below which one I should do first. Also, check out the links in the description. I have a 30% off discount code for GoRhino. I've got a lot of really good things coming up. I got the facelift on the truck coming in the next week or two, and do lift rims, tires, boxes on top, all the good stuff. And then I'm still on the fence about a programmer. I don't know. They're saying it adds almost 100 horsepower. It's kind of a lot. I might have too much fun with that. I've had 2 major road trips next month. I'm going to be going and visiting the Billy Bars headquarters in, I want to say Philadelphia. That's not right, but that part of the States. I just know I got to fly into Philly. And then starting to get into the summer months. My boat's ready. I'm planning on trying to bring it out here to California and doing some fishing out here out of the boat. I also kind of bought another kayak by Nomad. Nomad is the Robert Fields brand. He finally launched his own set of kayaks, and he had a special on the initial launch, and I bought one very impulsively. But one thing I've learned living in California is, honestly, kayaks a little bit easier to tote around, because some of these launches for these boats and even the water gets really rough. It's just not fun. But yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, like, show people my stuff, tell people about my stuff. The more people that follow me, the better. You know, the more people that follow me makes it easier to do more of this.